Hi, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to review the Pandora's Box 4 HD. And cut. Ironically enough, when you buy your Pandora's Box, I've gotten mine from one specific vendor. You don't get it with a box, so it just comes in some bubble wrap. You get a nice sticker that you can put on your arcade cabinet indicating for players how to exit. A Enjoy Life with Quality 8-page manual, which I do appreciate because it does give you the JAMA pinout diagram. If you're trying to figure out what buttons 5 and 6 are without this diagram, JAMA harnesses are pretty similar, but with buttons 5 and 6 without a kick harness, sometimes you can find them all over the place. So it is nice that you get that. If you look closely, this is a dead knockoff of a PlayStation 4 case, just miniaturized. If we look at the date stamp code, this one was made pretty recently as of this video, so December 31st, 2015. If we open up inside, we can get a look at the PCB. There's not a whole lot to it. It's just a ARM Cortex-8. Check it out. Oh, this is a different board. And I'm talking about different board regarding Pandora's Box 3. So this is the next iteration of that. I was pointing to the SD card, which houses all the ROMs, the operating system, and all those videos for every game when you select it. We're going to install this in my mini Neo Geo cabinet, so I'm removing Pandora's Box 3 and just putting Pandora's Box 4 in replacement, connecting VGA and the audio out, and just putting it back inside. Okay, we're gonna turn on and see what she's like. It's pretty sweet. It's better than the Pandora's Box 3 intro, but better doesn't say a lot. But it's at least not as highly compressed. I just still don't get that slogan. And they now have like some kind of logo now, which is new. Oh, so we were using that blue one. I want to take a sidebar for this review to just focus on this splash screen, which I think has some significance. If you look at both the Pandora boxes that I own, I have 3 and 4. If you look at the upper left, there's the manufacturer's insignia that's a leftover from the injection mold. So again, if we look at the splash screen, all the series from 3 and 4 and so on, all the iterations they've made, they're pointing to this insignia. And what I think that means is there might be knockoffs of this Pandora's Box around on the internet. So wherever you buy this from, whatever, Alibaba, eBay, whatever, I do think that's important because if I'm sure I have the official one, and if you buy one and you don't see that insignia on the injection molded case, you might have a knockoff. But anyway, see, the first category of games is clearly lots of fighters. And you'll notice that, we'll have King of Fighters all through the series, and then you'll see X game with like a redub or reversion or different region of it again. So now we have King of Fighters 97, but there seems to be 3 or 4 iterations, and for 645 games, that is definitely the theme that reoccurs here, which is just rehashes or reiterations of X game 2 or 3 times. The good news is you can hide any of these, but it all has to be done manual through the arcade controls, and it can be tiresome. Okay, so I've accidentally selected a game because I hit the button. And new in this feature, it does seem to start loading the audio before the full game is loaded in the RAM, which is kind of cool, gives it a little bit more personality. And I don't know what I've selected, but whatever. Super Trio. Lots of these games, especially pre-1996, are emulated fine as far as speed is concerned, sound, video. The one thing I noticed that on Pandora's Box 3, so the version before this, that I did not like at all, there were lots of video smoothing filters and effects that you could not turn off. So anything that had big, hard pixels from like the early 80s, and even a lot of the sprite-based fighting games had video smoothers on, which kind of made everything look washed out. And you know, for a modern VGA monitor, that looks good and bad. It's really subjective to, you know, what you want to do. We're going to exit this game, and you can do that by holding down the start button and coin button. Let's go through the entire list of games, starting from page 0 to 65. I'll do this fast, and then when I find a list, I'll just kind of do that as well, because these are like the abbreviated names as well. Similar to Hyperspin, there is video for every game that loads in this box, which is really nice. So left and right, change the pages, up and down, cycle through the game. Vertical shooters maintain their vertical aspect ratio, so there's not a whole lot you can do as far as changing that, but for 645-1, you know there's going to be some corners cut or features missing. As I was saying, towards the end of the list, in the upper 500s, upper 600s, we start to see some games that look kind of weird, like they are homebrew or knockoff, or like severely inspired by games like Oh My God or Puzzle Star, like Hyper Pac-Man. I don't know if this was a licensed Namco game. I really doubt it. Twinkle, which I know is like a Pac-Man ripoff, but I played this game. It's actually not bad. It's like super fast Pac-Man with like weird breakout power-ups. Okay, so that's all the games. Let's look at one of the more demanding emulation heavy ones. Like, all right, so I was wrong. It loads the same sound clip every time you start a game, and it doesn't matter which one. So we've already got a coin in, or a couple coins. So whatever coins you enter on the game selection menu, it's carried over, and it automatically skips like the intro or like self-diagnostic check when you load like a regular main game. So again, this JAMMA PCB has buttons 5 and 6 populated, which is not usually populated on most JAMMA arcades, and that's because lots of the Capcom fighters require 6 buttons. I don't see any problems with it offhand. You know, through the 600 and some games, there are a few that are emulated poorly or just not perfectly, but that's going to happen when you buy any compilation of anything. So we exited, and what we're going to do now is look through the self-diagnostic or like sub-menu that helps you configure kind of some of this stuff. And I'm just going to open the cabinet, and I'm looking for this button. This is the like self-diagnostic test button. This is the volume knob if you're using the volume off the JAMMA connection. This has a very classy audio, if you can hear it. I really like that. Some good classical while you're fiddling around. So some things you can change. Let's meet this real quick. Not a lot of features here, but the basics are you can change the credit because all these require that the cabinet has like a mechanical coin acceptor on it. The exit game mode, which is currently holding start and game. Let's see, we can make it that menu button, which I believe that's what it's referring to. Auto exit, so when you're in a game and the credits expire and it goes back into the attract mode, it will quit that game after 3 minutes, and it'll go back to the this game list menu, which I believe from my experience with the last one will show you the clip of a game for about 30 seconds, then move on to the next one. So it's got a pseudo screensaver one, and you can just turn this off entirely to keep it stuck in that game, which is nice. Select game mode. I still don't know what this means exactly. Let's consult the manual so you see what they're trying to get at. So I think that just means the mode which to select a game. So when you want to play it, you either press only one button will load it, or all the buttons will load it. Kind of weird, but that's what happens when you translate stuff. Quality optimization. The quality optimization is just a weird translation term for what means video smoothing. So when the optimization is on, it's using video smoothing filters. When it's off, it's raw pixels. So you can see the difference between the two here. I'm just showing on and off comparisons. It might be a little hard to tell, but this in the end is the final result. Again, difficult to prove with camera capture, but you can see video smoothing and hard pixels between the two. Then a few nice features are the I/O test. So to make sure your JAMMA harness is plugged in correctly, or if you've self-wired this, it will check to make sure everything is working. And then our coin is up here, so we have all that. So we're gonna do A and start to exit. That's nice. I did use that feature because I was trying to figure out what buttons 5 and 6 were on this JAMMA harness. We'll look at some settings. So for every game, you can adjust that difficulty. So in MAME Emulator on Windows, you have the ability to do the dip switches that are actually on the arcade for difficulty, credits, lives, so on and so forth. So that exists right here. So we're gonna exit using D. Bookkeeping. So when I bought Pandora's Box 3, it didn't come with this manual, and there is a password here that's already defaulted that you have to get into if you want to start tracking the total bookkeeping, as in how many credits and plays. And without this manual, you wouldn't know that the password is 555555555. It's not 00 or 111 or 1234. So I didn't know that, and it was nice to get this manual with it. So if you do get one of these, maybe you don't get this, but the password's all 5s. Oh, D is back. And also under game settings, so if we go to edit game list, with this game you can select or hide whatever ones you don't want to show. So if there are duplicates that you don't want to show, or there are just games you don't like or don't want to be played, you can edit this list. So we're just gonna save these settings and reboot. Okay, so I can tell from looking at this definitely has a video filter applied on it that you can't turn off. So if we look really close, yeah, these sprites aren't naturally that smooth. So maybe on a larger monitor, this might look worse. It looks okay. I mean, only if you're a real stickler about this, that it might affect you, but it's a feature that I don't really like. Found a hidden gem. This is game number something. I am not sure if this is a licensed game. Yes. Awesome. I'm sure everyone's dying to see how Metal Slug operates. So there's Metal Slug Plus. I don't really know what the plus means. We'll try Metal Slug 3, which... Whoops. It feels fine. There's quite a bit of slowdown when those big explosions and sprites fill the screen. I don't remember. I don't think I ever played this game in the arcade on a real MVS. I've only played like emulation and compilation versions of it on the like PS2 and Wii. So we get a real close up. Let's see how it looks. Pretty good. This one has still a little bit of video filters applied on it, but not as bad. This one looks kind of worse. Yamcha looks horrible, actually. So you can see the ROM on here, that whatever they're using is a 2 or 3 player cabinet, because this is made to do into a 2-player JAMA harness. So you need a kick harness to do like beyond 2 players. So it's nice that they have the player select in here. So they are using the correct ROM for like the cabinet limitations in this case. So final thoughts. I like it. It's good. There are quite a bit of doubles or copies or quadruples of the same game over and over. Though they're labeled the same or slightly different, clearly from like the screen cap or just loading the game, it's the same one. So out of 645 games, you probably have near 300, 350 that are actual unique and aren't duplicates. Emulation, it's good. Most of the games I've tested, I think I've tested about 100 to 200, play them for 1 or 2 minutes, and you know, from my experience with MAME emulation on Windows PC and Raspberry Pi and so on, it's good. The build of the quality of the board and shell, no problems there. I do like the PCB. I do like that it's got VGA out and analog audio out. You don't have to use the JAMA connections for RGB as well as stereo audio. So if you have a modern system or you've built your own MAME, it does work a little bit better as far as flexibility. What I don't like is the lack of features. So you don't have a lot of features you can access as far as like the in-game diagnostic or the actual like dip switch settings. That's cut out, and that's cut out for the reason the user-friendly GUI and overall like feel of the package. Another thing I don't like at all is you can't change like the filter of the game menu. So you can't do alphabetical, you can't do genre, you can't do type. If you want something simple and you don't want to go through the pain and hassle of setting up a computer with MAME and then adding a nice front end like Hyperspin or Maximus Arcade, this is a good alternative. It does have a little bit different interface as far as like using the JAMA harness. You don't have like a Windows encoder and so on. But if you've got an arcade cabinet that you want to refurbish or update or just make modernized with newer games or just change the games, I think this is a good alternative. Just that there.
Oh, it's recording.
It's alright, I can edit this out. Except the fart smell. Cut. Cut.